everyone's probably going through, because it's really difficult to quit. I mean, I quit a lot of things, and that was probably the hardest one. The insidious images, they just sneak in out of nowhere, and then you just bang, you're just there in that world again. You're like, damn it.
I want to taste every fruit. I want to taste every dish. I want to taste. And then you start seeing people like products. Start seeing people like their food that you can consume. My friends were like, what? You're not watching porn? Are you okay?
We rush kids up to it now. And so like you go through all of their drug, sex, and alcohol, and all of the vices of life. It just gets so rushed onto kids. And then they have no way to deal with it because they haven't developed a shield of culture to be able to filter through what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
And so they just take it on, and they're stuck with it. And then it's really hard to quit.
Where does it come from? Ask yourself, where does this wanting come from? Does this serve me? Who am I in relationship to this? If it does at the moment, it's okay, it's fine. But it's also about, don't you think there's a future where if you would stop doing that, it would be beneficial? How did you quit porn?
The thing that actually really made me go, oh my gosh, I got to get over this thing was...
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Remember podcast. Today, I'm joined again with Flinders, my friend from Australia. He's really a beautiful human being that I love to have on this podcast. That can be seen in his work, where he does music therapy, where he does also like Falun Gong. He cares for people in China who are being persecuted. And anyways, he does lots of cool stuff. And right now, he has just made a new song that he made. So Flin, if you'd like to play some of that, that would be cool.
Be good. You know it's not right, messes up your soul. The pictures haunt you, even though you know they're wrong. It takes the sunlight, the power colors hold. Your mother loves you, but you can't feel it anymore. When it's late night, you're lying in your bed, comes to possess you with poison running in your head. Maybe this time, maybe you'll resist the insidious images. It's clear it is teenage murder, teenage murder, teenage murder, teenage murder. Singing in your dad's car, playing in the backyard, hanging at your grandma's place, walking to your neighbors, playing in their sprinkler. Say you won't forget this place. Teenage murder, teenage murder, teenage murder, teenage murder. Singing in your dad's car, playing in the backyard, hanging at your grandma's place, Walking to your neighbors, playing in their sprinkler. Say you won't forget this place. Say you won't forget this. Say you won't forget this place. Say you won't forget this. Say you won't forget this place.
Woo!
Yeah, baby. Now we're talking.
Incredible.
Good times.
Man, I love that.
It's good stuff. I made a few mistakes there, but that's all right. You know, it's all
No.
part of the process.
Yeah.
It's
How long ago did you write that?
I wrote it on the weekend.
On this weekend?
So like
Last weekend?
5 days ago. Yeah, where did we go? We went somewhere. I think we went away. Did we go away this weekend? And so then I wrote a bit before and a bit when I got back. Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Yeah, it's good times. Have a little
So
bit.
you were talking to me before, and you were telling me that this song was about
It's about
porn.
Pornography. Well, you're watching pornography with kids.
Watching pornography. For
Everyone. Society's gone out of hell. I was doing this essay at uni once, and I was doing it on pornography, and so I was reading about it and stuff. And big thing that's, you know, maybe people know, but because we have it on the phone, you know, it's completely different to how it was even, you know, what, 30 years ago or something, and we had to kind of sneak around and do it. Now you just pop it out, and so I think it's become a huge problem for people. You know, I've gone through it. I feel like I'm on the other side of it now, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. Like, it's a terrible affliction.
Yeah.
And it's you know, I'm always dealing with that, and I'm now feeling really good about it. And I just feel like it's this thing that, you know, everyone's probably going through, because it's really difficult to quit. I mean, I quit a lot of things, and that was probably the hardest one.
Yeah.
Because it's just so like insidious, you know, the insidious images, you know, they just sneak in out of nowhere, and then you just bang, you're just there in that world again. You're like, damn it,
Yeah.
you know. And it really isn't cost free. People think, you know, it's cost free. It's not. It loses things like the innocence in your heart and connecting to the love. Like I say in the things, like your mother loves you, but you can't feel it anymore. I'm trying to get across these things. And, you know, this part I'm going, singing in your dad's car, playing in the backyard, hanging at your grandma's place. It's like, I want it to be like, contrast the two things, because it's like, honestly, all of those things I described just then are way more fulfilling and not worth the cost. But I think, anyway, I think a lot of things. I think in society we actually like glorify the teenage years, you know. We rush kids up to it now, and so like you go through all of their drug, sex, and alcohol, and all of the vices of life. It just gets so rushed onto kids, and then they have no way to deal with it because they haven't developed a shield of culture to be able to filter through what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
And so they just take it on, and they're stuck with it, and then it's really hard to quit. There's a saying in the Falun Gong, and it says it's easier to invite an immortal than to see one off. And it's like, it's easier to bring on a vice rather than get rid of it. And I think that's so true. It's like, as soon as you develop a bad habit, it's like way harder to then get rid of it, especially something devastating as porn. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, I totally agree. But yeah, one word, one sentence that you said in the song was, say you won't forget this.
Yeah.
Well, can you explain more what that
is?
What do you mean?
So yeah, when you're going through the, like, let's say, I mean, the song's about porn, so we can just talk about it directly. Let's say you start getting addicted to porn, right? But just what I'm saying, like, say you won't forget, like, all of these things, innocences that you had when you were a kid, like singing in your dad's car, hanging out with your grandma. It's like, just say you won't forget that. Like, you go through all of that stuff, say you won't forget that, so maybe you can return to it. And that's
it's still inside you, and one day you can come back to it.
Yeah, exactly. So don't lose that, because that might be something that helps you come back. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, exactly.
So how many projects do you have right now? So you have music therapy.
Yeah.
Then you have
Flinny.
Flinny?
the kids stuff. Yeah.
You make funny videos.
Yeah.
For kids?
For kids, yeah, for sure.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah. Definitely. I think the music therapy and Flinny are going to kind of meld into one for the next kind of series. I'm going to try to make like,
music therapy for kids.
For kids, for music therapy. So whatever, like I've got some ideas now, but I'm sure as I get more into the music therapy, they'll inform what the kid songs are going to be about. So they kind of mesh into one. But it will still have aspects of it that are not necessarily applicable to therapy and just good messages as well. So that'll be its own, but a lot of the videos will be like for like online music therapy, like so people can just watch it. And,
we'll put that in the description.
Yeah,
to see that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. And then the third one was just like this, like a song like this? Or do you think it's related to the other ones?
No, not really. I mean, that is more for teenagers and up, right? I mean, even just people who are older. I mean, that's definitely not for kids. But I've like definitely like songs that kind of more come from the heart, say. The kid songs are coming more from an idea, right? To like, how do I play songs that the kids will be responsive to, that they will be able to carry good messages, and that's basically it. And so, but that's kind of different because I'm not writing songs for me. You know what I mean? I'm not writing songs for what I think sounds good. I'm writing them based on parameters, right? They got to be kind of funny, or they got to be clever and concise and clear, and that's how I determine if the kid songs are good. But with the writing these songs, it's more like how I feel and how I, what I feel like is a good song, and more like I'll mumble and just follow my aesthetic sense rather than other ones more following parameters. So it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, and so cool. It's cool. I think that in general though, I want to just make songs that basically will, if you listen to it and hopefully it has a good impact on you for the rest of your life. That's why I think that song's like, I'm thinking it's a real good song.
I really like that.
For that purpose. And which is interesting because the kids songs, I was writing it because I wanted to like fortify different things, and the kids that hear it, like home life or family life or something like that. And then that idea has translated into my heartfelt songs, where I'm like, oh no, I should write songs about, like, try to actually talk about something in a, some of those techniques that I learned from kids is transferring to my heartfelt songs, which is cool.
Yeah. I want to jump back then on porn, because you were talking about your journey in it and how it has been addictive.
Yeah.
I think I definitely went through that too.
Yeah.
And I would say like last 2 years, I've been, progressively getting really out of it.
Yeah.
And even I was talking to Fatima about it, how it's a drug, how it's literally a drug that is taking so much time, energy out of you. And it's like, what for? And it's so fake. But for me, it's strange because I've never seen it as real sex, like real making love to someone.
Oh no.
Like I see it almost like a video game / movie.
Yeah.
That I'm watching, on my own.
Right.
But then it's also weird because there's an interaction of two other people. Yeah. And it's like, why am I like, like kind of, I don't know, masturbate myself on that.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. It's like, it just feels like it's got nothing to do with the natural way of it happening. Yeah. It's so separated from reality. How can it even be something that we can interface with?
Yeah. But it's strange because I would say like, many times when I was younger, I would not want to sleep with a girl because I wanted to wait for the right person. But at the same time, because of my kind of urges, I would say, as a young man, you know, who's growing up.
Yeah.
It's like I still like want to have that in my life, but I don't want to have any relationship with anyone
Right.
because that would create
Right. That's
something that I don't like.
Right.
So I prefer like masturbating to preserve myself for the right person,
Right.
kind of.
Because there are a lot more risks involved
Yes.
with the reality of sex rather
Exactly.
than masturbating seems to be like
A safe.
it's isolated. It feels isolated.
Yeah.
It feels like there's no consequences.
Yeah, because also the other person doesn't know me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
no
and
one knows me. It's just I'm
there's
doing it on
no-
my own.
Yeah, exactly. There's no interpersonal consequences.
Yeah.
All the consequences come from like loss of energy, loss of just connecting with the like the love of the feeling, and also just not getting over your urges, right? Like that in of itself is a huge lesson that we don't take on.
Yeah.
And I think that those are the things that, and they're harder to see, right? And especially when you're younger, you don't even think that those things, you just do not even realize what's happened. Like not until much later you reflect on it and you go, and especially I think once you quit, right? The quitting is huge because you go, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm just so happy. It's like it's a punishment in of itself. Like having those thoughts possess you, and the whole action for me, I just feel like it's like it is its own punishment. It's like before you might have thought it was, you know, some kind of intense experience, and then after a while you're like, it's not. It's like a cigarette. It's like you wanted to smoke a cigarette, you smoke a cigarette, you feel terrible. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just an addiction.
No, it's totally true. Like after that, I always feel like, well, I'm not so proud of myself.
Yeah. And you're like, oh,
you know
now
what
I'm
I
like
mean?
freaking tired.
Yeah, exactly. But it's totally different when you make love with someone you love. You know? Like a
totally.
real human interaction, and
100%.
it's out of love. It's the friction of love.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, actually, there's so much more to it. I mean, like that like it, when you just do it online or whatever, like when you're not with anyone, and it's just, it only has that depleting aspect to it. When you're with someone, it has this, like the kissing afterwards, the hugging, and it brings you back up. So of course, and the bonding.
It's person you love.
Have the person you love, and you are bonding. Like this is something that you're building. You're building towards a future.
Yeah.
You know, and so this isn't something you're just throwing it into the wind, and just it's like you got a piece of wood and you just throw it into the wind, and you're making something out of it, right?
Yeah.
And like that makes it an act that isn't just totally like frivolous and spiraling away into nothingness.
Definitely.
Which definitely you feel like that when if you're looking at porn, you just feel like, what the hell? And also possesses your mind.
No, for real. I think for me, a cure that has been like the past month, I mean, that I've really been writing about it, you know, like to really try to quit completely, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's not only on porn, it's about in my life in general and how society works, you know. I feel as though women are sexualized in various ways, right? Not only women, I would say also men are sexualized. Like we talk about sex like very like as if it was such a cool game, right?
Yeah, totally.
But I feel as though now I'm trying to see everyone as desexualized. Like I'm literally trying to desexualize every thought. When I see a beautiful woman, I'm like, she's a beautiful woman.
Right,
Point.
right. Yeah.
I'm not thinking like, oh, like,
you
know, these intrusive thoughts that can come into your head. It's like, she is what she is.
Yeah.
She is beautiful. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and there is so much peace and calm when I'm thinking like that. Just seeing someone like beautiful as they are.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It just
100%.
is what it is.
I mean, yeah. So I know what you're talking about, because I feel the same. And I feel like what the appropriate response to like seeing a beautiful woman is the same response to seeing everyone, which is I hope that person manages to overcome the cycle of suffering, right? Like I wish full liberation for that person. Like I really hope that they can, you know, so, but I don't want to become like a burdensome for them by dumping sexual temptation on them or whatever. Like not even temptation, but it'd be like my, you know, my urges to interfere with them. It's like, no, I think that the thing would be like, I really hope that you've managed to get the best possible thing in your life. Like I wish the best for you, which I would define as over, you know, fundamentally working on all your problems and overcoming that.
Yeah, I really think it comes out of mastering your own emotions, mastering those desires, those wants, those needs. It's like, for me, there's a time for everything. And so if I'm going to make love with my partner, that's the time to be aroused, to be this, you know? It's like, there's a time for everything. But also I want to say, like, even if I saw a beautiful woman, and that might be intrusive thoughts, but I'm never going to think like, oh, I'm going to act on it.
No.
It's more like something almost exterior that has been installed in you, you know?
Totally.
It's like from society, from even men point of view, it's like, oh, because you're a man, you should be thinking that. It's almost like right. I really think that way, that when I was a kid and, you know, more a teenager, it was so okay for men to masturbate. It was like, watch porn, man. Like,
So
it's almost like my friends were like, what? You're not watching porn? Like, are you okay?
Totally, exactly. And it's just so like it's basically ingrained now. And people, you know, you just don't know. I mean, of course, that was a reaction to the traditions, which was to not go for those desires. I feel like the traditions, you know how do you ever have a thing that's like you grow hair on the back of your hands? Or you grow on your palms if you masturbated? Do you hear that?
No.
And that was like but I mean, it's just that.
Someone told you that?
No, that was like the thing. If you don't do it, you'll grow hair in your head. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think that the traditions had it right. I think just at a certain point, we forgot how to explain them. We forgot how to see them clearly. We forgot how to transmit them in a way that, because the point of them is to uplift you, right? It's not like trying to take from you, but and try to drop you down. It's trying to make you more in control of yourself, more able to overcome the things that bring you down. And I mean, it's so valuable to have it now, right? I've gone through it. I'm so happy. Why wasn't that passed down effectively? Who knows, right? You can't really blame them. Life's crazy complex. But now that we're here, increasing your ability to overcome that desire, that lust is, I mean, it just interferes with you out there. Interferes with the things that are going to lead you to become the best version of yourself, better version of yourself. And I think that oftentimes something that I've been thinking, like, with, you know, because Falun Gong really helps me with a lot of stuff. And one of the things is like everything is for a reason, right? So when I see a girl, like I saw a girl the other day and she checked me out and it was playing on my mind. And I was like, oh, I wonder if other girls, right? It was playing on my mind. And I realized that I was telling you before about how it's like getting accolades or getting some kind of like acknowledgement from people is like something that I'm really like attached to. And I realized that it's like, that's fundamental for me. Like that was not for no reason, right? Like, I mean, in fact, looking through that lens of that, everything has purpose really helps me here, because that's going to help me to overcome that, this desire, right? Because it's like, oh, she looked at me, right? Oh, I'm like the best.
Like getting the attention.
Yeah, getting the attention, right? Right. So follow me on this one, because getting that attention made me feel like I was doing well, right? But as I realized that actually, oh wait, no, that's just my attachment to wanting to get accolades, right? And wanting to have achievements and people to acknowledge me. Then I realized that it's like, oh, but you know, I've wanted her to watch me, right? And so the problem is that because I've wanted her to watch me, like I've given off something that made her feel like this was a thing to think. Just the way that I'm like strutting, walking, whatever it is, right?
Yes.
And because of that, like because of my wanting attention, I've made her drop down into those lustful feelings. So actually, I haven't done a good thing. And it's actually shown me that I needed to grow.
Yeah.
And so I was like, whoa, it's actually showing me that I'm not good because I haven't...
You're giving the wrong signals.
I'm giving the wrong signals out.
Yeah.
And I should really be actually being like, you know, if I'm looking at it, be like, you know, I'm, you know, like up here in all of my body and being... Sometimes I think that I'm not very like, you know, some people out there are super sexual. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm that guy. Like, I'm just not that guy. Like, I'm way more like, I don't know, just a happy, nice person. That's what I think anyway. But sometimes maybe if I'm acting all like that guy, maybe people will take me that way. And I've not helped them to overcome that. So that's what I realized the other day. It was pretty interesting. I think it was interesting.
Yeah, for sure. My question then would be, how did you quit porn, I would say? How do you
I could talk you through my journey with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, all right. It started, you know, I've always tried to stop, like, you know what I mean, for a very long time, periods of times. And so probably the most significant time was, now even like I got the herpes and I didn't really piece that one together, and then I started reading the Falun Gong, and then that started me thinking about all this stuff. But every now and then I'd have like really bad relapses and just be like completely relapsed, which is not good. And then for a while I was like, you know, I thought this was helping, and I think that in retrospect it's such a bad path that you would never advise people to do this, because it's not the element that allowed me to quit. But I was like, you know, doing like what's it called, where you go with fear and you exposure therapy. It's trying to do like exposure therapy where you don't care about it, you don't have those experience, you know, you don't have any reaction to it. I think though that actually what happens when you do that is that you fill your mind with it, and it actually turns into this, like, it feeds the demon or the beast or whatever, or like that you don't want to be, and it feeds it and it gives it ammunition, because it gives you like images. It gives it images to haunt you later, and it like, because later on it pops into your mind and you're like, I don't want to even think about that, and it's just entering your mind. And it's all of these like from that time. And I think so the thing that actually really made me go, oh my gosh, I got to get over this thing, was I was reading all these stories from Falun Gong practitioners, like just reading through, like, and then I got onto some that were talking about lust, and they were married. They were married in a relationship. And so they were married, and they were saying that they were both, as a couple, getting over lust, so they weren't having any interaction. And then the person was like, I'd go see my partner, and they would be like, no, we're, you know, and then they'd reflect and then realize that they have to get over this. And I was like, oh, like, it's not like you get married and for you have sex. It's like, if you take in the full spiritual journey, like, and you and your partner both agree that this is what, you know, this would be the best thing for us, that you might actually just give it up 100%. Like, there is a standard out there in the world where people just go, we give it up 100%.
Like what? Making love?
They just give it up 100%.
Stop
And I'm
making love.
not suggesting that this is for everyone. All I'm saying is that there was a standard out there that was like, these people were giving it up for the rest of their life until the end of their lives. They'll give it up and it's done. I was like, what is going on with that? Like, it really, I was just like, that was something that to me just hit me hard. And I was like, what am I? I'm like here watching like porn. Like, I mean, I feel like I was maybe making progress. I don't think I was making that much progress. But I was like, no, it's over. Like, it is over for me. And I was just like, no more. Like, no, it's done. And so that was a really big not doing it. So then after that, I just realized that, and it really wiped something out for me. Full quitting. And so then I was even like having to just not look, I was, you know, look at girls on the side of the street. I mean, I was single I was just like, no, don't worry about it. It's over. And it's just, you got to, and it's like every single time. And then, you know, you're not looking, and then you realize that it's like, you should, I mean, I really feel like unless you have eyes of compassion where you really, you know, it's just happy and supporting them, you shouldn't look. You should just be thinking about yourself. You should be inside yourself. I mean, that's what I think. And I know that people disagree, but I mean, I needed to do that so hard. And I was like, no, I just don't worry about it. It's like, I used to be the person who was always smiling at everyone. I think, sorry, I used to be the one who's smiling at everyone all the time. And I mean, I still am. Like, it's just that I just really got to, I mean, for a very long time, I really had to be like, you know, just.
Sometimes it's part of the quitting process, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I had to take it more serious than I wanted to take it. And so then I was doing that for a while, and I actually got over it quite good, you know, and then I wasn't looking at it, happy, all good, it'll come up, it'll be okay. And then a few times I made a few mistakes. This was my mistake. My mistake was I feel like I'm so over it now, and I really don't need it, and I'm really good. I wonder if I'd go back. And this is why I think that the exposure therapy actually doesn't work. Because you're liable to do that. Go, oh, maybe I'll go look back at it and I won't be affected. And of course, the thing is that I really feel like when you're getting over it, right, you're getting over the desire, you're destroying it. You are destroying its presence in yourself. And when you look at it, it's putting more presence in it. So it's like when you look at it, you're actually increasing the presence of it inside of yourself. And so that's why it's like, yeah, you can kind of reduce the amount of presence it has when you're looking at it, but it still has it. Like, so but the best thing to do is to just take it seriously, take it more seriously than you want to, and just get rid of it. And that's the best way to do it, just head on. That's what I think. And that's what actually was the thing that helped me. And really like just that, you know, things can see people. Instagram's really bad.
Oh,
Instagram's like the worst because it's so sneaky.
It's soft porn.
It's soft porn. It's soft porn right next to normal things. Right? So it just sneaks in. And so it's like, it's the worst. And you know what else is really bad? Like Facebook videos. Really dirty. Really just slips it in. Puts it in out of nowhere. You're like, what the hell?
I think that's the craziest part.
Yeah. And I'm not willing to go onto TikTok and find out.
Yeah.
And I bet it's as bad or whatever, but Instagram I know is sneaky, and you really got to delete it. or get rid of, clean it up.
Yeah.
Right. Clean your feed up or whatever. Just start a new account or whatever. But it's like, it's just there. Yeah. And until you really like, it just sneaks, gets out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so.
But I just wanted to talk about the feeling of wanting to make love, you know, the desire for it. I think personally, I've been on a journey of not like getting rid of this emotion, getting rid of this feeling, but more, how can I master it? And I think that for me, it's not about like trying to repress it, trying to control it, and because that would mean letting it grow even more stronger.
Yeah.
Because you know everything that you want to control like stays. But the moment that I actually have this thought or have this feeling of lust, I actually let it come through me. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to communicate with me? So, you know, like I'm literally observing this thought pass through me. But if I judge it, I know that it will create something.
Right.
Like where.
Right. Okay.
I'm in contrast with myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Because I think when you try to, let's say the words control it or block it or repress it, actually you've developed a fear toward it.
Yes.
And you don't want to develop fear toward it.
Exactly.
No, you want to really, I mean, you definitely don't want to develop fear towards it. So I guess what you're expressing there is that you're saying then you are looking at it and actually understanding it, and that is,
Yes,
I mean
it's exactly that.
so from the point of view, say that girl the other day who looked at me and I went, oh, well, that must be top dog. But it's like, no, you actually were wrong. Like you've done, it's the opposite. Right? It's worked the opposite. And I think that looking at it and feeling like what is the thing about yourself that is allowing this or creating this, right? That is a massively healthy thing to do with it. Massively. Like it's like to go, wait a second, so what's up with that? Now, I think that for myself, and I know from talking to you that you believe in the monogamous relationship because, and I would submit that it is the better way to do it because of the security, the safety, and then laying a groundwork so that you can have a existence that's free of things such as wondering, am I alone? Or like, am I completely powerless to do things in the world? And so you have that conversation with your partner and you can actually grow. And so from the point of view of it being secure and safe, you can start growing things. And so monogamous relationships to me are superior because they feed life better.
Yeah.
And so the thing with it is that it's like when you have those thoughts, right? It's like you see this beautiful girl and you go, is it worthwhile for me what does this mean for my life? Like how does it help me? And it's like, well, it doesn't. So then like, so what is it? What's going on? And it's like, oh, there's probably something in me that is allowing this because I have some kind of, whatever it be. It's like, oh, I like, it's like, it's like kind of, you just like it. Like it's like liking like something that's dirty. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of like it, but you know that it's not going to lead to the best world for you.
Yeah.
So you have to make a decision.
No, definitely. I think for me, I don't see every desire as something to overcome. I think that there are desires that are prolific, certain desires that bring good, Like if I have a desire, my soul desires to expand. My soul desires to, try to do the right thing. And I think also pleasures, it's desire and pleasure is connected. The same way, like if I start a YouTube channel, I'm helping a lot of people and I'm creating good impact in the world. Then this desire of me expanding, of me willing to be more and be myself is a good thing. And so I think there are two different types of desires, right? Or pleasures, let's say. There's the one that, for example, like cigarettes or porn, let's say, like you do it, feels good. I mean, I've never done cigarettes.
Cigarettes doesn't even feel good. It's a phenomenon.
I've never done cigarettes, but I would say like, okay, porn, let's say, or for people who smoke cigarettes, they say it feels good. For them, it's like a relief.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I guess so. I smoked cigarettes for a while. Let me tell you, I don't think I had like one in every 10,000 was a good one.
Yeah. But anyways, let's say, what could be another example?
Yeah, no, but I get what you're saying.
Like you do something, or drugs, for example.
Drugs,
let's say
alcohol, whatever. Right?
Alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like it feels good in the moment, but what about medium term, long term? Is it going to create something good?
Yeah.
Am I going to feel better in the future or no?
Yeah. Right.
And then there's the other one that is, I'm going through something that is pleasureful. I mean, I'm having pleasure doing this, and it will lead to even more pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe there is also then I go through something that is not pleasureful, like cigarettes.
Yeah.
And it ends on medium long term, not pleasureful.
There's gonna be somebody who's watching this
and
then smoking cigarettes. It's all good. I've got a lot of friends who smoke cigarettes.
But then another one is, so you go through something that is difficult, like working out, maybe doing meditation, Falun Gong, and then in the end, it creates even more pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think for me, I see like different types of desires, different types of like wants, needs, pleasures.
For sure.
that will either create something really good or something that
Yeah, yeah.
is going to be terrible.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that everything, I mean, like you might have some things you could argue are completely in the realm of like this is immediate and has bad long-term consequences, like maybe sniffing glue, right? Right? Maybe you get a bit of a crazy head spin and you feel terrible, but you know what I mean? And then you have a terrible experience after that, right? And then you have something really good that probably is purely good, meditation maybe, or
Working out,
working out. Let's say
eating
that
good.
they're at least in a realm where like, yeah, sure, there's going to be some things about them that you could imagine where there's something wrong. But then there's things in the middle, and most things might actually be like a bit of both. And you have to kind of assess for yourself, like, how much is this actually going to help me in my life? And I think that everything kind of like that's the thing. It's like if let's say smoking cigarettes, right? If that was going to be good for you, it has to be a part of a complex system of things that, you know, you would have to actually involve a lot of these other things probably that are good for you, that create pleasure now and the future for that to be good. I mean, it's hard for me to say cigarettes.
Yeah.
I just smoked for so long. And it's like,
What would you say to someone who's smoking cigarettes right now?
no, just probably the best thing is like, I mean, it's up to you. Like if you want to smoke cigarettes.
Just wanted to say about cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
So we went on a trip to Costa Rica with Fatima. And then we met a girl who was like, she decided to stop smoking, right? And why that was because she read a book about really completely stopping smoking.
Oh yeah.
And she told us, like, it's not about all the reasons that people think you will stop for, you know, like, oh, for money,
Yeah.
oh, it's bad for my health,
Yeah.
oh, it's bad for this, you know. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Everyone literally knows
Yeah.
that it's not good for your health.
Yeah.
But why they're doing it is because the whole culture, movies, you know, like the coolness of it, the group effect, the fact that when you go to a party, everyone is smoking, the fact that, and so for them, it's like, if I stop smoking, I'm losing all this. I'm losing all this. And you before also with me was talking about like seeing someone, you know, having a coffee, smoking at the same time. And you're like, oh, maybe that's cool.
Yeah.
In the same way, like if you see someone in back in the days with movies, it's like, oh, like such a nice suit.
Yeah.
And oh, that person is so confident in themselves, and oh, they're smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means unconsciously you're
Yeah.
thinking like, having confidence is smoking.
Yeah.
But not only that, you know what they did also, the industry of like cigarettes.
Yeah.
They would go to feminists and say like, okay, you want to do a revolution outside? You know that all men are the only ones who smoke, right? Back at that time, only men were smoking. So it was like, oh, you're a feminist? Then smoke a cigarette. And then it was like, women smoking cigarettes, you know, like we're just like men, equal.
Yeah.
So it's like everything, you know, that this industry did was to like, it was marketing to make people want to smoke.
Yeah. Let me submit something.
Go
okay?
ahead.
Okay, so we know that when you smoke a cigarette, basically it makes you feel terrible. Like that I think is more persuasive for people than it's killing you. But both are true. And so it makes you feel terrible now and it kills you in the future, right? So it's basically not good. It's not really a good experience. It's not a good habit to have. It's not good. And anyone who's concerned about themselves, they're actually working in opposition to themselves when they smoke. So it's not for your best good, and you're working in opposition. So why would you work in opposition to yourself? That's what you're saying. It's the propaganda. They're associating smoking with looking cool. They're associating with it being strong and confident and all these powerful characters. So they're putting cigarettes and saying, well, here we go. They're laying out a persuasive propaganda to get into your head to make you work against yourself. So when you see someone smoking, that person has been duped by propaganda. Because of course, why would you be working against yourself? You of course have been duped by the propaganda. So every time you see a person cigarette smoking, that's what should be more of the association rather than the suit. Don't worry about the suit, because the truth is that was a propaganda tool that these people now have bought into, and unfortunately,
That
they
works
fell
with
for it.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, so I've been in business school, you know, like in France, so marketing, everything. And so we saw also that in movies how they put McDonald's somehow, you know. It's like no one sees it,
Yeah.
but unconsciously
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
there.
it gets into your head.
You know?
That's like the thing of when you know, the just images will go into your head and it'll form a little house in there.
Yeah.
And sneak in. That's why the Instagram's so dangerous, because you scroll past it. I don't look at that. I don't look at that, and it builds a world in there. Same thing with the propaganda. It's just exposure. The more that you've been exposed to it, the more that you're willing to think that it's it we can get used to anything. You know.
But I would say that if we come back to porn, it has been the exact same thing with the whole society. You know, it's almost like there's a culture of porn.
Yeah.
But by the way, I just want to say to anyone who's listening that, you know, it's okay. It's okay if you're smoking. It's okay if you're watching porn. It's okay. It's just, is this really the best version of yourself? Is this really who you want to be in life?
Yeah.
That's most the question. It's okay. You can do whatever you want. It's just about, is this working for you? You know? And as you say, like, if it's not working for you, then you might want to get a strategy to stop.
Exactly.
And I would say that for me, porn at some point in my life was working in a sense.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, this is not reality. It's draining energy from me. I'm doing less and less stuff. And just as in your song, like, I'm literally forgetting about innocence, about just seeing beauty as it is. And then you get all these intrusive thoughts, right? But what about just seeing the beauty and the elegance,
Right.
the sensuality maybe, but not sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. But
you know,
so when the intrusive thoughts come, they bind your perspective, and they kind of set the rules of the game, and the way to win the game is to go towards this lustful goal. And whenever you give your attention to something, you give it importance, and because it's stolen the importance, it's become the important thing, but it's not necessarily the greatest thing, right? It's just because it's bound your perception at the time. So you think it's the greatest thing. It's not at all. And there's millions of things that are superior, and one of the things that is love between people. And in my experience, pornography kind of hazes that up, like it muddies it up until the point where there is a partition between you and other people. And then so you've given up for this thing, you've given up things that are greater for sure. Yeah.
No, definitely. But yeah, for anyone who's watching, listening, like, I would say observe this emotion of desire to smoke, desire to make, you know, love on your own, watching porn, other people. Where does it come from? Ask yourself, where does this wanting come from? Does this serve me? Who am I in relationship to this? If it does at the moment, you know, it's okay, it's fine. But it's also about, don't you think there's a future where if you would stop doing that, it would be beneficial? And
Totally.
and won't you, like, want to be even more closer to your partner? Because you might also, you know, watch porn even when your partner is not there sometimes, or, you know, and it's society says also it's okay, to do that. But then it's like we come back to kind of like the monogamous idea of a relationship of like, oh, but you know, like let's say polyamorous people, or not polyamorous, but
Polygamy.
polygamy,
Both.
poly, polygamous people. Anyways, I would say like people who want to have sex with many people, let's say, not specifically like in love, but let's say just for the sex. There might be an idea in our society of like, oh, I want to taste every fruit. I want to taste every dish. I want to taste. And then you start seeing people like products. You start seeing people like their food that you can consume.
Yeah.
But I think it's not about a dish. Your relationship with your partner is as your relationship with yourself. So, and I talked to you about that the other day also. It's seeing your relationship with yourself as when you, I don't know, you see other people that are men, you know, and you're like, oh, I envy this person. I would love to be like him. I would love to have his hair. I would love to have his muscles. I would love to have this. But you can't, right? You have your own body. Then you're frustrated. And what about, instead of seeing the grass greener on the other side, you know, pour water into your own grass, and then it will be greener.
Right.
And here's the same thing, then care about your own hair, care about going to the gym, care about running, care about meditation, care about all these things. If you concentrate on your own body, then it will be good. And it's exactly what you said also for lust. When you concentrate back on your own body, on your own relationship with yourself, but also with your partner, you concentrate only your relationship with your partner, then it all becomes good. And you don't want to have like other fruits or other. No, there's so much potential in your relationship to grow. You can literally do so many things in your relationship to make it, you know, spicy, let's say, or dive deeper in knowing your partner. The same way that you can dive deeper in knowing yourself.
100%. And I mean, I thought a few things there, and I think that's super true. I think that like when you so I think that like, well, let's say you look at this guy and you think all the things on the material, right? You just see the material person. All right. Let's say you see the material girl, right? You see the physical bodies, and you give it a lot of importance, right? You say that this is the thing that triggers my body into a reaction, right? Oh, it must be true, right? And it's so obviously real, right? That it eclipses these other things, right? And when you haven't developed those other things, these things seem so big, right? And what are these other things? These other things are like when you have your relationship and you really have a good talk about something, like you're really vibing and it's really great, and you're having jokes, or you're having really like just really novel ideas, or, you know, just the conversations are really something that you just really value. Or, you know, whatever it is, you know, maybe it's you just see your partner and you just see the intricacies and you're just like, wow, this person's really amazing, and, you know, they're so capable, or, you know, and so you start to see more of the spiritual aspect of our lives and your relationship. And when I say spiritual, I mean like you have powers. Like maybe powers is the wrong word. Maybe abilities is not quite there, but it's these like developments inside of yourself through effort and, you know, concentration that develop something that is more special and more enjoyable than witnessing a physical body, right? And you know, and then because you have that, you go, well, why would I? You know, that's nothing. It's like, and you look at it and you go, hey, how you going? You know, I'm so full inside of myself of various developments, and I think it's a similar thing to culture. It's a similar thing to culture. It's culture. You know, these people develop something about themselves. You know, maybe you see a play, you know what I mean? But you understand something about life. You understand you're really engaged with life, and you've really developed something. And when you've done that, the other stuff just doesn't seem so special. You just go, well, and I think that's, if we're going to talk directly to the cigarette smokers and the porn users, that's exactly right. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about if you develop something inside of yourself that is just more special, more like, then you look back at that and you go, oh, don't worry about it. And that's, I guess, what we're trying to eliminate. Like, it's, we understand, like, I understand the cigarette smoke. I was one. I get it. I get that. What I'm talking about is now is like, through my development over these years, is like, these things are harder to see. So you need people to illuminate them. And that's what we're trying to do. And so then, you know, like, don't feel bad about it. It's just that, you know, if you keep going through the process of, you know, finding out about things and, you know, and actually earnestly going through the processes, you know, you'll just look back and be like, I don't want it. I don't want it. All right. You know, and that's truly the aim, because it also goes back to what you were saying about watching the, you don't want to just shut it off, repress it. You don't want to repress it, because eventually it's not about repressing it. It's about, you look at it and you go, yeah, it's not.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like, it's got like all of those things that were controlling me got no power over me now, because it means less. It means less to a point where I can really just be like, it's.
I think it's exactly this. It's not about repressing the emotion. It's about simply choosing differently. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it comes, and I'm not saying like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like,
stop
being
whipping
here.
yourself or something.
It's like, okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I'm choosing something different.
Yeah, we're not going to go with that one today, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to go
It's
with
like,
someone else.
thank you for sharing. I appreciate
It's
it.
going to be a no from me, dog.
It's going to be a no for me.